Oh, I can't.
But other than that,
I'm super restless sleeper.
I usually am, but it wasn't that bad.
I wake up and I have no blankets. They're everywhere.
Yeah, usually. But
It's all over.
I didn't wake up on that side, so.
You're so
I like.
He doesn't move at all.
I've been able to not move at all, but I've also had to move sometimes. Like I've created barriers. I've stopped myself from moving, which is weird.
You know what's weird? This sounds perfectly fine. This sound?
Then you just have to test them. Or yeah, because you.
They're just warm enough. Oh god, my pain is really bad.
You're gonna start formulating. Yeah, I've created barriers with my family, and I've stayed with them. Don't know how I've done it. I don't know.
Just roll over them.
What it is.
No, like literally,
just,
like they were undisturbed. I don't know.
Ow.
Oh, yeah. No, I literally charged mine the other night, and I was so upset about it. And I was like, what the freak?
Why did it turn off right when I turned it off?
That's really funny. Hey, did you grade your test yet?
No.
What are you itching? I want to know.
No, it's me too.
I want to know both of them.
I think you might give me a test back today. Like, physically.
I doubt it. He never gives a test.
Sarah, did you start
If one person doesn't do it,
the
then
white page?
another can do it.
What?
That's
I did. I did like the back.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. How are we doing today? Wonderful, 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 wonderful. It's now bell to bell. Put away the phones. Don't just put them on your desk. Put them away, put them away, put them away. Thank you. All righty. If you could get logged in, ladies and gentlemen, and go to joinpd.com, that would be wonderful.
The people that haven't done it yet just take forever. So we don't have to do anything today.
Yeah, that's a good one. I feel like some people haven't even started on it.
Yeah.
So I would assume
I haven't started it.
The way.
it's not easy.
Yeah.
I forgot how to use my calculator.
Yeah, me too. I just need you to like take the entire period and do it. Because I don't want to do anything. Yeah.
Obviously, it's going to be a hard period.
Okay. Well, if it doesn't,
It will.
make it.
How long is it?
It's four problems.
Yeah, it's four
Four problems.
Four
The first
questions.
problem has
What?
5 points.
Yeah.
He said I'll give you some. There's two pages just.
Well,
But I
tell
was
him
gonna
not
make
to
it
rush.
last
All right, here's your Pear Deck code.
He'll end up giving us a whole day.
I would love that.
Young Olives perfectly wish hilarious ninjas. Okay, who could go wrong with a phrase like that?
I already forgot it.
There, that'll help.
Today's a bit. I might have done it.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Oh yeah, I did it.
Did you do sad?
Yeah.
So did I.
I'm sad because I'm in Mr. Grant.
Yeah, me too. I'm sad because I started the day with Mr. Brad.
Sorry, probably get better for you next try. Unless you have me first hour again.
No, I have you fourth hour.
I think I have you second. Though.
Yeah, I don't think you guys, I think my ChemCom class are first and fifth next trimester.
I think I have you second. I don't know.
So,
I will enjoy having fourth period chemistry.
I get to start next try.
Wait, do you do the good
That
morning
sucks.
thing every period?
When do you do it, man?
no.
Okay,
Nah.
good afternoon. Good
Yeah,
afternoon.
I do good afternoon after 12 o'clock.
Really?
Why?
You do the
Fourth
scream
hour.
thing every single time?
What? The scream thing?
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Oh,
So,
it's really nice.
yeah, not a problem. You're welcome. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to February 1st, ladies and gentlemen. My favorite month of the year because you get 2 fake holidays in the first 14 days. Yes, Brenda. Sure, I can.
Wait, what other holidays is in the first 14 days?
Well, what's one? What's tomorrow?
I did last year.
Nobody knows what tomorrow
You
is?
could say like Groundhog's Day.
Yeah,
It's not even. That's not
right.
even a
That's what
fake
I said.
holiday.
2 fake holidays.
It's not even a fake holiday.
What is it?
An event.
Valentine's Day is stupid because everyone's sad.
Everybody's sad.
An event.
People are sad, and couples are sad.
Okay.
Partners-
The fact that they use the same groundhog every
And then they're
year
breaking up.
makes it
Until it dies, and then they have to get a new one.
Yeah, that makes it
This
an
is
event
like a-
rather than like
it's
a holiday.
Well, don't they use the same same Santa Claus every year?
Yeah, but we're not.
Don't they use the same New Year's ball every year?
But they don't.
Don't they use the same turkey every year for Thanksgiving? Don't they use the same candy for Halloween and costumes? Yes.
You get a new turkey to eat every year. You don't
So
eat
they
the
get a
same
new
turkey.
groundhog when one dies.
Yeah, but that's not every year. And they haven't.
So?
But they haven't even named the groundhog.
Punxsutawney Phil. They have named the groundhog.
But they don't call it Punxsutawney Phil Day. They call it Groundhog.
They don't call it Santa Claus Day. They call it Christmas.
Because it was originally a celebration of Christ's birth.
Well, they don't call it Jesus Christ's birthday every year, do they?
They call it Christ Mass.
Which means what?
I like how.
So what you're saying is you don't know and you don't have an
They
argument.
call it Groundhog's Day with an S at the end of groundhog. Yet they only use one groundhog. It's not Groundhog's Day.
No, because
It's
different
the Groundhog
communities
Day,
use different
whatever
groundhogs.
Phil Day.
There are others besides Punxsutawney Phil. Other cities have celebrations for Groundhog Day.
But we
It's just the one in Philadelphia gets the most
It's
attention.
an event. It's like calling a New York parade holiday.
You mean like the Macy's Day Parade on Thanksgiving?
Yeah, it's like calling the Macy's Day Parade a holiday.
Called the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. But anyway. All right, get there, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go, because he's losing this argument and he wants to get out of it.
You want to get out
All right, so
of it.
is the following compound binary or ternary? Iron 3 chloride. Go ahead, Najma. Is the following compound binary or ternary? Why? Okay. How do we know it's 2 elements, though?
Why do you say that?
Okay. So how do we know it's just chlorine? How do we know it's not ClO3? Okay, very good. This one ends in IDE. Now, Brinley, does every compound that ends in IDE, does that mean that it is binary?
No.
So there are compounds that end in IDE that are not binary. I'm asking you the questions, and then you're over there going, yep, no,
The answer, but then you looked at me weird.
I look at everybody weird. Don't feel
Well,
special.
No, I said it, and then you just went like this. Sorry.
Sorry, I couldn't see you. So why would my reaction, if you know the answer, change your opinion?
Because then it made me feel like I got it wrong. I don't
Okay.
want to change it.
So the question I asked is, do all compounds that end in IDE, are they binary?
No.
Okay, they are not, right? Because there are some what?
What? P.
Well, help her.
Starts with poly.
That's not helping her. Help her.
Polyatomic ions.
Answer the question.
Oh,
Oh my lord.
you said help her.
That would be helping
Yeah.
her to answer the question. She got you to the point where she said not all compounds that end in IDE are binary. Explain.
Cyanide ends in IUD. It's a polyatomic ion.
Okay. There are a few limited polyatomic ions on the back of your periodic table that we highlighted yesterday that end in IDE. Is this one of them?
No.
No. So then therefore this is what? Najma. A lone element, and that makes it a what kind of compound?
Oh my lord.
Not an oh my lord. There are no oh my lord compounds.
Shoot, you're right.
There are no shoot your right compounds. There are binary compounds. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, if you were not here yesterday, if you missed class or whatever, I will put this on my desk today. Make sure you get the information on the back copied onto your periodic table. Make sure you get the information on the front copied onto your periodic table because this will help you tremendously on your quiz. Okay? Good. So this is a binary compound because it ends in IDE, but more importantly, because it is between two elements, iron and chlorine. And again, you have to be careful because even though some compounds end in IDE, they may not be binary. Okay? This one is FeCl3. Now, what does the III tell us? That the iron has a charge of +3 because if we go to the periodic table and we look at where iron is located, it is not in an area where we can judge its charge based on the group that it is in. Questions?
Do you just put a negative sign if it's a negative charge, or is it just never?
There are none that are negative
Okay, so it's
that
just negative,
have multiple
negative.
charges.
Okay.
Okay? So the negative ones are solid. In other words, they always have their charge.
Okay.
Oxygen is always a -2. But also the ones in group 1 and 2, those never have any other charges either. Those are always +1 or +2. Even the ones in group 13 are always +3.
Oh my lord.
So
Okay.
the only ones are these transition metals and then tin and lead. They can have multiple charges. And some of them can't. Zinc, silver, we gave you the charges of those. Those don't have multiple. Fair enough? Good. If that doesn't confuse you, I don't know what will. All right, calcium hydroxide. Is that a binary or a ternary compound? Calcium hydroxide. Nadia, what do you think?
I think it's binary.
Why?
There's only two elements,
What elements?
calcium and hydrogen. Is that hydrogen?
I don't know. That's what I'm asking you.
That's what I think.
Is that hydrogen?
Oh, it's not. So it's the T1.
It's a T1. T1, not T2.
Oh,
T1. Later you'll have me in T3, but not T1.
Ah,
What is T? What is the T word?
I can't say ternary.
You just did say it. Very good. Ternary. Okay? Now, again, this one ends in IDE, ladies and gentlemen, but it is a polyatomic. Hydroxide. Not quite hydrogen, which would be hydride. Not quite oxygen, which would be oxide. A combination of the two. Hydroxide. So again, it's one of those ones where, yes, it ends in IDE. You're not going to find it on the periodic table on the front side. You've got to turn your periodic table over. So it is, in fact, a ternary compound. Okay? By the way, calcium +2, hydroxide -1. When we do the crisscross method, because we are going to put a number by this hydroxide group, we have to put it in parentheses. Questions? Okay. Ammonium sulfide. Ammonium sulfide. Take a second, ladies and gentlemen. Is this a binary or a ternary compound? Leaf, your thoughts.
No, I'm asking you like next time.
Binary or ternary?
I don't have it. I don't have it.
You want to say ternary because of the ammonium? You would be absolutely correct. Okay? Because of the ammonium, this is a ternary compound. Now, please understand, this is the one polyatomic that will be at the front of a compound, ammonium. Okay? It's the only one I will give you. There are others. It's the only one we will use in this class. Now, that's going to put it, now it could be with another polyatomic. That would be okay. In this case, it's with the element sulfur. So we're ending in IDE because the only way to express sulfur, a lone element, in a compound is to write it as sulfide. Okay? So ammonium, NH4, and sulfur make the compound, but there are three elements here that is ternary. Sulfur is a -2. Ammonium is a +1. So therefore, we have to put the ammonium in parentheses and put a 2 by it, ladies and gentlemen. Okay? Anytime you are going to put a subscript by a polyatomic to balance off its charge, you must put it in parentheses. This 4 is part of this polyatomic. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the 2 that goes after it. That is there to balance off charges. To do that, you have to put this in parentheses. Questions? Sodium nitrate. Now, before you even go any further, what gives this one away? ATE ending, which means it has to be what? Has to be ternary. Well, not every compound that ends in IDE has to be binary. If the compound does not end in IDE, it cannot be binary. This ends in ATE. This means that there is definitely a polyatomic involved. This means you got to turn your periodic table over and you got to start looking through your list for nitrate. Now, the good news is they're alphabetical on the back. So you go down to where you get to, the ends. You've got nitrate there. Now we know what the group is. It's an NO3 group. So, ternary compound, sodium +1, nitrate -1. The 2 charges cancel each other out. NaNO3. Questions? Okay. That is the last of that for today. Questions? Take out a pencil. Something to write with. Pencils are in the blue cup over by the sink there.
Oh, take a pencil specifically?
Wait,
Has to be.
not a pen?
No, you're not allowed.
Why is my paper
You
all
could
icky?
only use.
Jeez.
All right.
No, you can.
So, ladies and gentlemen,
Don't worry. Here's 10. I want to use a pen.
please write me names for the following formulas. Okay? Please notice on this one, I'm requiring you to put a Roman numeral in there. That is why I have distinguished it. And then over here, ladies and gentlemen, are the Roman numerals that you would use.
Wait, can you dim the light?
Oh my God, I can't write.
More than I already have? No, I can't. That's as low as they go. There. That's it.
Thank you.
By the way, ladies and gentlemen, just so you know, 4 short weeks from today, you'll be taking your final exams in classes. Actually, the last day of final exams will be 4 weeks from today. So the good news, if you don't enjoy having me as a teacher in the morning, you only have 4 more weeks of it. The bad news is if you don't enjoy having me as a teacher, you still got 12 weeks after that.
Oh my god.
I know. I love this one.
It depends on the assignment. Like the one that we're doing now is bad, and there's obviously
I just what one?
I'm not a big fan of it.
I love that.
Mr. Frank, how bad?
Yes.
I like arguments.
I lost mine.
I like making
Right over there.
essays for the
I'm
arguments.
just
In the top 2
It's
bins.
one of my favorite things ever.
She grades stuff like awful and doesn't tell you why.
But I just love writing essays. So that's why I'm so
No. Right on top.
Right,
Right there. Right in front of you. The top 2 bins.
Why did I do that?
Nope, sorry. Not drawers. The
I'm just
bins
saying,
on top.
I enjoy writing essays. It's good. It's one of the few classes I'm actually good at. For the AP test, I'm really weird for yeah. I think y'all, I'm really excited. I don't know what to take the AP test. That is weird for me to say, but I'm excited to write them in the essays and it's on computer too.
I'm not. I feel like I'm gonna like completely not be able to write one.
I'm a fast essay writer when I have to be.
Depends.
Like I'm gonna probably go with 2 by the paragraphs. Especially for
for me-
proposal analysis, I'm gonna bomb that.
Ooh, I think I got a full like 100% on the rhetorical analysis that we did. That was like a practice AP test. Remember? No. It was so
All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's go over these. Row seal, which one do you want to do? Okay, so what do you want the name to be?
Iron. And 3.
Okay,
And nitrate.
very good. Iron 3 nitrate. Now, this is the trickiest one of the group, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, and here is why. We need to figure out what the charge on the iron is. Okay, so Fe, NO3, 3. We have to figure out what the charge and how many nitrogens there are. There are nitrate groups. There are 3 of the groups. Okay, the charge on each one is a -1. So the total charge there is -3. Okay, guys, please, if you get it, great, but there are others who may need this explanation. Okay, all right. So to balance off that -3, the iron has to be a +3. That has to be the total charge of all of the irons. Now, how many irons are in this compound? There is only 1. So we are always taking the number times the charge to get this number down here. So what number times 1 will give us a +3? The charge on the iron has to be a +3. That's where Rocio got that number from. Now again, you name the metal, iron. You name the non-metal. That group is nitrate, NO3. That's it, you're done. That's all there is to doing the naming on a ternary ionic compound. All right, Haley, which one you want to do? Okay, what do you got? That is not cobalt. That is a capital O, not a little one. Go on to the back side of your periodic table. Carbonate. Now, a couple of things, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry that my writing isn't as great as it should be. That doesn't look exactly the same size as the C in there. Understand that. But you can never have 2 metals make a compound. So it can't possibly be cobalt in this spot because, number 1, that would put two metals together, but number two, metals are always written where? Metals are always written at the beginning of your compound. Okay? At the beginning of your compound. Now, there are a couple polyatomics on the back of your sheet that have metals in them. So it is possible that the second element could be a metal. But if this were binary, meaning we thought this was cobalt, capital C, little o, no way that compound could happen because you can't have a metal in that second spot there if there's only two. Good. Questions? All right, Jacqueline, which one you want to do? Okay, what do you got? Ammonium sulfide, perfect. The NH4 group is ammonium. We write it down. The S is sulfur, but all times when we have a lone element ending a compound, we need to indicate that by making it an IDE ending. So ammonium sulfide, perfect. Good. Questions? Miro, which one you want to do?
The second one.
Okay, what do you got?
Magnesium bromine.
Say that again.
Or wait, no, magnesium. Would it bromide?
Correct. Remember, you have to change the ending to IDE. If you say magnesium bromine, you're describing two elements. When you put it magnesium bromide, you are now describing a compound. That is how we distinguish between something being an element and something being part of a compound, is we change the ending to IDE. Very good. All right, the last one here, Gerald. What would we have? Very good. Okay, zinc for the ZN. The PO4 group is phosphate. You turned your periodic table, found it on the back, named it. That's it. Questions? All right. The naming process is pretty easy, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. What's a little bit more difficult is when we go to writing formulas. So take a couple minutes and write formulas for these compounds. Now, please remember, for all of these compounds, you need to write the charges for them and then create a compound that has a total charge of 0. A total charge of 0. So, there is some intermediate work that needs to be done here to get your final compounds. All I'm going to ask you is to give me your final compounds, the formulas. I would do the first one. Don't end in double O. You do the C2H3O2 for acetate. No.
When you're not.
Over there, no.
Silver's look right.
How am I supposed to know where this stuff is?
47.
Well, because that was one of the ones I told you to write down
You're
and
right.
gave you
You're
the
right.
number.
I actually did. That's
Oh, that's good. And by the way, if on the test or on the quiz, you were doing silver acetate, you're like, Mr. Brand, I can't tell what the charge on silver is because it's in an area of the periodic table where I can't tell. I would come over and I would say, that was one that I gave you, that's a +1. Because at least you understand that you cannot find its charge from where it's at.
That's just how he was charged.
I don't know what that means though.
Can you read your own numbers?
I know it's a change.
So that just means that you can't control the plus two.
Well, here's
Is
the
it like
question.
just like this?
When you put it there, and then you do your charges,
First
plus one and minus one. When we do the crisscross method, are you going to actually put a number by that C2H3O2? Okay, so, for example, let's do this, let's do lithium plus one, acetate C2H3O2 minus one, right? We say we take these numbers from up here and bring them down here so that we get a total charge of zero, right?
Because
It
yeah,
should be
the whole
Li
thing is
minus one, C2H3O2
that's because
plus one. But what numbers do we have to write down? Well, we get rid of the charges, you are correct. We also never write what number. We only write one. So now, we're gonna write this without the ones, and because I'm not putting a number here, I got rid of it because it was one, we don't put the parentheses in. Now, if we were to do something like this,
That's
which
not
is
funny.
plus two,
I know.
with a minus one, minus one takes it down here, plus two is gonna go here. I'm not gonna write the minus one, because I wouldn't.
Oh, Edgar
Now-
Allan Poe.
Then I'm gonna have to put a number by this, I have to put it in parentheses. Okay? Yes. Okay,
Did you guys ask my doctor tomorrow?
What's the
I didn't test him.
sign and the, or the symbol and the charge on symbol.
I mean,
We all know. Just add a little.
Okay. I still think it's
You write
embarrassing
EG.
that I have the highest one.
And it is a
Hey,
plus
how do I
one.
do this? Do I just do
Before you
2,
leave
3?
class today, you need to put the plus one,
Where are you?
okay?
Where'd you get the
That's gonna
4?
determine what number goes down below,
Where did your 2 go?
okay?
Well, because it's true. So, Jerry M has charge of
That's C2H3O2, that's how you write it, okay? Think about which one doesn't need parentheses, other than that, it's right, right?
Wait, you
Okay.
drop all negatives?
They put a plus in front of it. Now, acetate.
You're right, you're
You
right.
carry on the table over because it is in an ATE,
But I do drop all
and that's
negatives.
the formula
Because
for acetate.
there was no
Like, the
negatives
whole formula
before this.
exactly like it is with the charge.
You already dropped the 1. You dropped the
So
1
the
every
whole
time you do
formula
it.
for
So I
acetate
don't think about it.
with the charge.
But you don't write the positives.
C2H3O2, drop the
It's
2 by the
different
O.
with negatives. Stop. Oh,
Okay, and now we do the crisscross method, which means this one goes down by that AG, this one goes by that. Now, the reason we do that is to get a compound that has a total charge of 0. But when we do that, the one number we never write down at the bottom are ones.
Yeah, that's a one.
By putting the symbol there, you're saying there's one of them. So, if this was a 2, we would put it down here. By the way, even though this is positive and this is
Wait, what is
negative,
C
when they
U?
go down there, the
What's the
numbers
term
have to be
CU?
positive. You can't have a negative amount of sign. So for this one, because it's a 1 and a 1, even though we would bring it down here, we're not gonna write it, because it's a 1. So then you would just write AG C2H3O2. Right, let's put it kind of together. You got a big like gap in there, and make that a small g, not a capital G. The second letter has to be lowercase. I love writing all in capitals as well, but that can't be. So, That's your formula. For the next
Can you
one,
just point it out?
tin is a +2 charge. That's what that means.
Why
Put
don't
it
you
with
just say
that. Do the crisscross method and see what you get.
well, you can always see some straight line. One, two, wait.
The 2 goes up there. Okay, now hang on. Now remember, when we do the crisscross method, the 2 goes from up there to down by the NO3, right? Okay, and the 1 goes from up there to down by the S. So now you're gonna have to, now I would write it with those in place. Okay. We do that, we put them up at the top, so we see what numbers we're gonna crisscross. But in the end, those numbers at the top have to go away. Okay? All right, how are we doing? Okay, can I ask why 5 here? That's 1.
Oh, so this is okay.
Sorry, I didn't put it on this side, I had it on the
Okay.
last slide, it's a 1.
Oh, it's so.
Okay.
What?
So here's the thing, and I don't know if you're doing this and just not showing it, or if you're not doing this. Barium is a +2.
Look, it has literally tilted.
Phosphate is a +4, and it's a -3 then. So now we're gonna crisscross these. Now we're gonna take this number and put it down by the VA to this number by the PO4. That's gonna guarantee us a total charge of 0. Now, when these numbers come down, I ignore the signs because the numbers at the bottom have to be positives. So that becomes VA3. Now I'm gonna put a number by the PO4, so I have to put it in parentheses. 2.
Okay.
Okay? So like here. Now, do the crisscross method. Do the crisscross method. Okay? Are we doing questions? No? Good? No seal questions? Very good. Very good. Okay, so this is NH4, right? And it's a +1 with sulfate. Okay, so write it down with its charge. Okay, now do the crisscross method like you did on all the ones above. Correct. Now rewrite it with those numbers down below. Well, remember, this is NH4, so this should be NH4. Now, you're putting a 2 by it, correct? So what do I need to do? Anytime I have a polyatomic that I want to put a number by, what do I have to do? That one has the parentheses, yes. Perfect. Well, hello, sir.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. Okay. Yes, Brindley.
Can I staple this?
Go for it. Okay. All right. So who's got a formula for silver acetate for me? That's not a good sign.
AG, Joe.
AG.
Joe. That's what he said.
C2H3.
What?
C2H3O2. Why did you not hear?
I heard Cho or something like that. I have no idea what the heck you.
Joe.
You don't go no 3 for nitrate.
No, I would just say no.
Okay.
I wouldn't have it.
So silver +1. Okay. Now, maybe when you get better at these, you don't need to do this part where you write down the charges and things. For now, I think you almost have to. Silver is a +1. C2H3O2 is a -1. This -1 is going to go down by the silver. This +1 is going to go down by the C2H3O2. But those are the numbers that we never write. We never write ones. So I don't even bother to bring them down. Okay? Because they're both ones, all we're going to do is write AG C2H3O2. That is your formula right there, ladies and gentlemen. Complete. Totally done. Now, again, I don't know how you get to that formula without doing this part. But if you can, okay, so be it. Questions? How about tin 2 nitrate? Who's got a formula for that other than Levi?
SN, parenthesis, NO3, parenthesis, 2.
Perfect. Tin is SN. That is a +2. Nitrate is an NO3. It is a -1. This -1 is going to come down by the tin. This +2 is going to go down by the NO3. Since I'm putting a number by a polyatomic, the NO3 group, it has to go in parentheses. Questions? All right. Barium phosphate. Who's got one for that? Good, thank you. Come on, someone's got to have it done. Let's go.
BA3, parentheses, PO4, close parentheses.
Perfect. Barium is a +2. Phosphate is a -3. This 3 goes down by the BA. This 2 goes by the PO4. Since I'm putting a number by a polyatomic, I put it in parentheses. The reason we're doing this is so the total charge on all of these compounds is always 0. Always 0. That means everything in the compound is going to be stable. And that is how all compounds are. They are always stable. That is the reason that they're combining. All right. Copper 2 oxide. Or I'm sorry, copper 1 oxide. Who's got a formula for that one?
Cu2O.
By the way, of all of these on this page, this is the one that can be on your quiz tomorrow. Because it's the only one that's what? It's the only one that's binary. Copper is a +1. That's what the Roman numeral here is telling us. Oxygen is a -2. Why? Because it's in group 16. Everything in group 16 is a -2. This comes down by the Cu. This goes down by the O, Cu2O. No parentheses here. None needed. No polyatomics. Question. All right, ammonium sulfate. Someone give me that one.
Parentheses, NH4, parentheses, 2, SO.
Close.
So the SO is
Nope.
SO4.
SO4. That's the group. Ammonium is NH4. It's a +1. Sulfate is SO4. It's a -2. You did all the crisscross and everything correct, but don't change the group. That's SO4. It's always going to be SO4. Questions? All right. Open up your EISN, ladies and gentlemen, and get to slide number 29. And we are on the back of our periodic table here, ladies and gentlemen. We are on the back of our periodic table. Now, when scientists were first figuring out about compounds and first discovering compounds, they would take a compound and break it apart and find the relative mass of one ingredient compared to the others. So in other words, in a compound, something such as NaNO3, there is a certain amount of sodium, 22.99 grams, to a certain amount of nitrogen, 14.01 grams, to a certain amount of oxygen, 48.0 grams. Any idea where I'm getting these numbers from, ladies and gentlemen? They're the atomic weights on the periodic table. But what it also means is there is a ratio by mass of the ingredients in a compound. So there is 23 grams of sodium compared to 14 grams of nitrogen compared to 48 grams of oxygen. Scientists found this, and then they determined that the formula would be NaNO3 because the amount of oxygen, okay, at 48 is 3 times the average mass of an oxygen atom. So there had to be 3 of them there, okay? So they found this out. They started writing and naming compounds, okay? This group, 1 nitrogen to 3 oxygen, kept showing up over and over again. So they said, okay, we're going to call that a nitrate group. They found that carbon would do the same thing. It could be carbonate. Sulfur could be combined with oxygen for a sulfate group. And that's how we started to get these polyatomics on the back. The nitrogen and the oxygen were always in a certain ratio, 14 grams to 48 grams. Okay? They were always that way. Well, then after a while, they realized, wait a minute, we got a few compounds that are doing some weird things here. We got a compound that is still Na, that is still nitrogen, and that is still oxygen. And this is still 22.99 grams. This is still 14.01 grams. But this only came out to 32 grams. Why? Why would there be less mass of oxygen in this compound? There's less oxygens there. And they found that sometimes with these groups, the number of oxygens could vary. So instead of NO3, which is normally there, sometimes it was NO2. And they found this consistently. Carbonate, which is CO3, sometimes could be CO2. Sulfate, which was SO4, could sometimes be SO3. And all they were finding was that they would lose 1 oxygen. Well, can you name these 2 compounds the same if their formulas are different? No. So they came up with a system that they were going to use. If it had the normal amount of oxygen in it, we would name it with an ending of 8. This would be sodium nitrate. But if you had 1 less oxygen, which happened occasionally, they didn't want to trash the whole naming system. So what they did is they said, all right, we're going to call this sodium nitrite, ITE ending. And an ITE ending is going to distinguish that the ATE ending has lost 1 oxygen. So whatever the normal ATE ending is, if it loses 1 oxygen, it becomes an ITE ending. Now, I don't expect you to know when they lose the oxygen. That's not the point of this. The point of this is that if I give you this name, this formula, this is the name that you will give me. But if I give you this formula that has 1 less oxygen in it, you will change the ending of your polyatomic to ITE instead of ATE. And please look on the back of your periodic table, ladies and gentlemen. Please look on the back of your periodic table, because this is what I have over on the side in this box. Okay? If you use an ITE ending, or if you have to use an ITE ending, this ending means one less oxygen compared to the normal oxygens in the ATE ending. And the only thing that changes, hang on, Leaf, 1 sec. The only thing that changes is the number of oxygens. The charge doesn't change, just the number of oxygens. Go ahead. Go for it. Okay? So, if I were you, ladies and gentlemen, I would put a note in that box. And the note would be, lose 1 oxygen. That's what the ITE ending means. You are going to lose 1 oxygen compared to the ATE ending that is already on the back here. That's what it means.
Always spell oxygen wrong.
Now, can this happen with cyanide? Why not? Because there's no oxygen in it. Can it happen with ferric cyanide? No, no oxygen in it. No, no oxygen in it. Can it happen with hydroxide? No.
Because there's only one.
Because there's only 1 oxygen. And if it loses that 1 oxygen,
It's not hydroxide.
now it's no longer hydroxide. It's just hydrogen. Now we go back into our binary naming system. So you will never lose all of the oxygens that are there. You'll never lose all 3 of these.
You can't lose an oxygen in cyanide?
In cyanate? No. Well, you can, but then it becomes cyanide. So this wouldn't become cyanide. Okay? It's only when there are multiple oxygens at the end. Acetate can do this. Arsenate can do it. Okay? Bicarbonate, bisulfate, borate, bromate, all of those can do it, but they all have the oxygen at the ends. Okay? This one, if you lose it, it literally becomes this compound, which means we would name it cyanide. Okay? We would name it cyanide. Okay? Questions? All right. So, polyatomics that contain oxygen can have varying amounts of oxygen, therefore requiring different names. So, if your polyatomic has 1 less oxygen than the ATE form on the periodic table, we change this, we handle this by changing the ending from ATE to ITE. So again, where it gets confusing is when you look at a compound and it's CO2. Something CO2, because there is no CO2 on the back of your sheet. What's the closest polyatomic to CO2? CO3, which is carbonate. So that means that it has lost 1 oxygen and it is now carbonite. Questions? Okay, so here are some of the changes. Nitrate, NO3, would become nitrite, NO2. Carbonate, CO3, would become carbonite, CO2. Notice the charge doesn't change. Still the same charge. Phosphate would become phosphite. Chlorate would become chlorite. Sulfate would become sulfite. The only thing we're changing is the number of oxygens. Questions? So we still have to write a compound that has a total charge of 0. So we still treat this just like we would if this was NO3. Okay? We still treat it just like that. What I mean by that is we are going to take and do the crisscross method. And because I'm putting this 2 down by this group, I put the group in parentheses still. The only difference is instead of an NO3 group, it's an NO2 group. Questions? What is Be? Beryllium. What is NO2? Nitrite. That is beryllium nitrite. ITE ending, ladies and gentlemen. Now, we asked before, do you accept spelling errors, Mr. Brand? Okay, I do. But now, the difference between ATE and ITE is one letter. That I cannot accept. If you misspell the ATE ending to ITE, that's wrong. And guess what? ITE to IDE, one letter. That's not a spelling error. Now you've named a new compound. So you got to be careful. Aluminum and phosphate. +3 and a -3. We would bring the 3's down. 3 by here, 3 by here. But these 3's can be what? They can be reduced or canceled out or however you want to say it. So we are left with AlPO3. I've taken away the parentheses. Why? Because I'm not putting a number by the PO3 group. When you're not putting a number by it, you don't put it in parentheses. What is Al? What is PO3? Phosphite. Aluminum phosphite. Naming is still fairly simple, ladies and gentlemen. Naming is still fairly simple. Okay? This one we just named. Beryllium nitrite. ITE ending. Why? ATE would be NO3. NO2 is the ITE ending. What is this one, ladies and gentlemen? What is Li? Lithium. What? Spell the ending. Okay. I was, again, sorry, Meryl, I was hearing that as kind of an ATE ending because sometimes it's hard to distinguish them. Okay? Hard to distinguish sulfate, sulfite. Okay? So I just wanted to make sure. So lithium, sulfite, ITE ending. Questions? Okay. We'll get into polyatomic prefixes. You have got about, ladies and gentlemen, little under 15 minutes. The ternary ion worksheet is in your Google Classroom in the site for you. Sorry. So you've got this ternary ionic and binary ionic to work on, ladies and gentlemen. Your quiz tomorrow will only have binary compounds on it. Only binary. No ternary.
Don't get it mixed up.
You shouldn't, because there aren't any ternary on tomorrow. Go to work, ladies and gentlemen. Please use your time wisely, unlike yesterday.
So stupid.
I know.
You didn't have to go to certain addresses. Okay. Well, what are you gonna do during the 5-minute passing period?
No, because we have to talk to teachers, because there's different teachers. I don't know what teachers. It's just
We all got an email about it.
did you, like, no, what teacher you're assigned to?
Well, I'm not, because I don't have freshmen.
Well, I'm saying if she changed it. Wait, do you know what you're gonna go on? Yeah, because they just said that. Do you want to see it? Yeah.
Well, you were showing me, and now you're worried more about Nadia than me?
Well, she has to bring that too, so. You're not the friend. I'm not even on.
Well, I'm not on the list because I don't have freshman classes. My home base is not freshman.
Oh. Well, that makes sense.
Why don't you put trust in him? I think he knows what's going on.
She's not here, right? I'm tired. So
I can't finish that recap.
I don't know if she
I'm already done with today.
Oh, I don't know how I'm gonna do
Right,
that.
but all the teachers.
Because I literally couldn't figure out how to use the calculator.
I know, I spent like 20 minutes and I was like raising my hand.
So, all you need to do is go to the class and
walked
show
by,
what you're there
helped
for.
her, helped Eric,
Announcements.
and left.
Okay, because that'll give you a few minutes too, because
When
we're
I was
doing
on the second
announcements and then we're doing
And I
a
was
secure the
confused
building
about my
inside drill.
calculator
So you
and
can
Oh,
talk to
that's
the teachers
today.
and start.
sheet, and he walks by, helps
the girl like 2 tables in front of me, comes over, helps Aaron, and then walks away.
There's so many if I was stupid. I would avoid it because you see mine.
The worksheets,
That's-
practice.
I would be like,
Start
he knows
writing.
what he's doing.
What?
And then I'd walk
With
away.
both worksheets?
I feel like that's what Mr. Quinn was thinking.
With
Yeah.
both
What
worksheets?
have you done to think that maybe?
Okay, almost only counts in horseshoes and handwritings.
No, I would be like, he can figure it out.
Yeah, I don't think
Finish the worksheet.
I think it was just
I
like.
don't think it's that deep.
But I don't think he can.
Wait, actually, what would you do?
Legally. There's no
I didn't know
law
there was
saying
legal
you have to
repercussions.
answer
One of my students
kids
died.
when they raise their hand.
What I
I didn't know there was
used to
legal
do,
repercussions.
call them
He's not going to get arrested because he didn't call on
on. Can I
you.
go?
Yeah. Well, it wasn't like
Maybe
a
it's not.
I know, I'm just saying, like, he's not going to.
Well, we'd have to find.
Going to jail.
For me to find out.
All right, Blue Jay done.
So you wouldn't hear this.
Oh my
I
gosh.
didn't say that.
You said
I said I wouldn't know until you were dead.
why?
Because I don't know how it would be.
Just a purple
I would
blues.
Okay, then I'd be sad.
No, you guys have the purple pony.
Shoot. Oh, hey, what's going on?
I know it's not.
Mr. Brown?
Can you show me your done homework?
Oh, I just closed the tab.
Well, open it back up, I'll wait.
I don't know where it is. I'm sorry.
What's the
You know Pamela
alternary
University?
compounds?
You know that place?
I've heard of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry, I think my
What
Google
is the charge
Classroom's
on
glitching.
alternary
My chemistry class is gone. See? It's just not here. Don't. It's just not here. Sorry. Why don't you
Yeah, you
ask
did.
Levi to pull up his?
You tell me. We know it.
These are the
Shoot.
Those
Shoot.
are polyatomic
It's literally
ions.
glitching right now.
Let me ask you a question, Nadia. What is the charge on every binary ion in the compound? No, it doesn't. What is the charge on every single binary ion in the compound? No.
But bro, my touchpad
Why do we do the
isn't
crisscross
scrolling.
method?
You see
Oh,
that?
0.
So why do we do the crisscross method in the ternary ion in the compound? So why are you asking me questions when you already know the answer?
I don't know.
Oh, you
Hurry.
How
see?
can I
It's literally
explain
turned
that
in.
right? A ternary ionic.
Well, tell me how you would do it.
I'll do it. What's ternary?
Ternary means that it involves a polyatomic, 3 or more elements. Wow. You have written
I told you I will do it.
invisible
Ah!
typing.
Yes.
Are you skinny?
That's your.
My whole worksheet.
No, I meant your this thing that has this. Because I forgot to write the definition down. You didn't know about that?
Excuse me.
Or more elements.
By the way, ladies and gentlemen, if you need something on your periodic table from mine, it's up here. Come on up and copy what you need off of it and put it onto yours. Because you're probably going to want it for the quiz tomorrow.
Probably.
Okay, thank you.
Or you can send it back.
I'll write it down later.
Probably should say that.
Is the cation the positive
Cation?
caddy? Yeah,
Like a
that.
little-
Cation is the positive
I
ion,
gotta
correct.
say
A
cation.
literal example.
I don't know because there's no S in it.
Cat now.
But like
I'm using
H-T-I-O-N.
Yeah.
Cation.
How do I know from? You know what I mean?
Okay, but you're putting the
These things?
the
The top one.
the emphasis on the wrong syllable.
So just any of
What?
these that are positive? Wait, where?
Cat ion. Cat ion. Instead of putting it on the second part, put it on the first. Cat.
Wait, do I
ion.
have to put the formula
And
or can
ion.
I just the name?
Just
And I can put any of these. You did all of this in 3 minutes.
no, I did all that yesterday.
You guys cheating.
He posted it yesterday.
Yes.
And I did the first one the day he posted it
Go down to the bottom.
instead of waiting until.
If it's below the line, go down to the bottom. Metals we put at the bottom, non-metals we put at the top. Because when you get into that area with the stair step, if you're above it, go up. If you're below it, go down. Okay?
Why does Woody actually have your girl? I didn't freaking good. I don't know. It just makes more sense that way.
Oh my god, that's because the vibes and the so they're trying to do this that way.